It's the age-old question in FM, which is better, fullback on attack or as a wingback? Today we will find out. What's up everyone? So today I'm going to get to the bottom of what is the best role for fullbacks. Fullback attack or wingback support. Now they are both really similar when you look at them in game. Right then, so here's what they look like in game. You've got Gosens as a wingback on support and you've got Dumfries as a fullback on attack. Now the starter positions are pretty much identical. There is an argument to say the wingback on support starter position is slightly, ever so slightly higher, but is minimal. Now what I want to look at next is, and this is probably where it gets most confusing for people because these player instructions are pretty much identical. So first, if I click on the wingback, there you can see run wide with ball and get further forward. Okay, they're the hard-coded ones that are in there. Now, on the fullback attack, cross more often, get further forward. So there's not a great deal of difference there, is there? The only difference is that the wingback is instructed to run wide and the fullback on attack is instructed to cross more often. Now, if you look a little bit further down here, now the key attributes are highlighted in a different shade in there. Crossing, dribbling, first touch, all those are highlighted. Now, if I click on the wingback on support, exactly the same key attributes for that role are highlighted. So now you're like, what is the difference here? What is really the difference between these two? Now for this, let me take you on a very, very brief history lesson. The wingback role was initially created for formations that had nobody in front of him. So think Christmas tree formations, three at the back systems, all those icon legendary teams that did that, that's where he came in. Now in the modern days, teams have got more aggressive. They've used basically really advanced wingbacks to just bomb on. And they've got more and more part of today's football. I know what you're thinking, it doesn't help us much when we try to build a formation though, does it? So, we're going to do something here, and then we'll see which is going to be more effective for us. Right, so what I'm going to do is a bit of an experiment, which we don't do often, but I think this one's going to be pretty cool to do. So we're going to take both roles, bang, bang, and we're going to use Gosens for both of them. So he's going to be the guy that's going to be on fullback attack and wingback support. He's going to do a season of each. Now to make it as close as possible, what I'm going to do is your wingback support has got run wide with ball and get further forward, remember? Whereas your fullback attack has cross more often and get further forward. So when we use the wingback on support, we will add the cross more often player instruction in. And when we use the fullback on attack, we will add runs wide with the ball. So basically they now have exactly the same player instructions as well. So to do this, we'll start a brand new career. We go to Italy and we select Inter Milan. Sorted. Save game. Sounds quite dramatic that, doesn't it? Now there's the fixtures, and it's important to note that they're going to play in exactly the same fixtures in exactly the same order because I'm not going to auto-save it. I'm going to leave that off. There's auto-saves. Let's tick that off. So that way, when we get to the end of the season, we can have exactly the same fixtures by reloading up. I've just got to remind myself to turn that bad boy back on for when I get into my game. Because if I lose all that... So obviously the next step is the formation, and we're going to use exactly the same formation for both runs of the test. So... we reopen the old favourite Zio remix. I wanted one that has nobody in front, so they're going to have full opportunity to bomb up and down the flank. Now the Zio remix did bits for us. There I am talking through the Zio tactic. I actually used Inter Milan to build it, so I know it's going to work. I know it's going to bang, so we can look forward to see who's going to be the most impressive at it. So remember, we're going to use Robin Gosens. There he is. And if first off, his first season, let's bang him in as a wing-back on support and build the team around him. Right, so this role here is all for Gosens. You can see he's going to have a full range to bomb up and down there, supply bullets to Dzeko and Martinez. I think it'll probably be up front. Let's do it now. So that's the team he's going to roll with mostly. And I say mostly because when we go to put him on holiday here, we will be using current match tactics. So I don't want my system manager playing a 4-2-3-1 or something horrible like that. And obviously we'll use current team selection to make sure he plays all the time. But drink it in, that's the tactic that we're going to use for this entire season. So first up is wingback on support. Let's see how Mr. Gosens does with that role in that team. Right then, how did he do? Well, first off, let's have a little look at his profile. The good news is that it was an injury-free season. He played 53 times. Now, 10 assists, 0 goals. We'll get into more of the stats in a second. But as far as the team goes, they did finish first in Serie A. Thought they would. 100 points. Absolutely cruised it. In fact, 100 points, 100 goals. Competition-wise, they won the Italian Cup, Italian Super Cup. And they were knocked out in semi-finals by Liverpool. There's a schedule, as you can see, the one he's going to repeat with a fullback on attack duty. Some big wins right through there. 5-0 against Salzburg, 6-0 against Sassuolo, 6-1 against Maccabi Haifa. The only games they seemed to lose was against Liverpool. 6 goals here and there, 5 goals, all over the place. Loads of goals. So look, we know the tactic's solid, but it's not about the tactic, this. That's what it's about right there. So 53 matches as a wing-back on support. No goals, but 10 assists. 126 key passes. Bear in mind, he does not take set pieces. Now crossing, 102 out of 384 completed crosses, which is a decent ratio. And speaking of decent ratios, 149 out of 195 tackles were won from that wing-back on support position. So he was getting back in defensive duty as well. Impressive stuff for sure, but now it's time for, you guessed it, the fullback on attack. So we've loaded it up and there you can see the schedule exactly the same as we started last time with the Milan and Juve games coming up followed by Cagliari. We load the Zio remix in and the only change is right here, so he's going to be a fullback on attack. Team's loaded in, there's only one thing left to do. Gosens as a fullback on attack, let's see how it goes. Season as a fullback done, how does it compare? Now, first up his profile, again, over 50 games, 51 games. Now, if you look at his stats, he has scored this time. So 2 goals, 12 assists, and his average rating is way up. Right, as far as the team goes, it's another stunning season. They won the Serie A by a canter, 104 points this time, 120 goals, so even more interesting. In the competitions, it's almost identical. Knocked out again by Liverpool in the Champions League. Runner-up in the Italian Cup this time, taking down the Italian Super Cup. This is where it gets impressive. Look at the starts of this season. There's just win after win, goal after goal, right up until right at the end of the season there. That's where it fell away a little bit here, just right at the end, but they've topped it off with a 7-0 win against Genoa. So another stunning season, but how was his stats? Let's have a look. So as a fullback on attack in his 51 matches, 2 goals, so that's +2 on the wing back, 12 assists, again +2 in 2 less matches, 148 key passes, so that's a big bump up for 22. Completed crosses is interesting. There's 20 more, but he also took on about 120 more attempted, so it looks like he's way more aggressive in this one. Tackles 1, 2 less, but from 10 less tackles attempted. So that one surprised me. The fullback on attack seems to be more impressive than the wing-back on support, both going forward and going back. Now, the team as a whole scored more, but conceded more, so there might be something in that. But for me, I'm going to go back to that Stinger Zio tactic, slot in that fullback on attack and have a play around, because that seems to be superior to a wing-back on support. Now, to get a definitive answer, you'd have to try it with loads of different formations. So, for example, having a couple of players in front of them either side to see how they link up. But for me, if you're going to play narrow, fullback on attack seems to be the way to go.